Imagine That, the podcast where we explore the magic behind the magic of your favorite theme parks. Join us as we pull back the curtain on the creative process, storytelling, and design principles that make Disney parks and beyond so immersive. Whether you're a lifelong fan, a curious creative, or just love spotting the details most people miss, you're in the right place. So get ready to tap into your imagination as we take a deeper dive into the lands, attractions, and stories that bring the parks to life. Let's imagine that together. Welcome to another episode of Imagine That. I'm your host, Amanda, and today we are finishing our mini-series of reimagining Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom using the Imagineering Pyramid. But before we get started, we got to thank our sponsors, Sunken City Design, Getaway Today, and Where in the Park. And of course, big shout out to our lamplighter's, our Patreons who are keeping that conversation going over on our Discord, which if you have not joined, what are you doing? Come join us. It's free. It's a lot of fun. We dive into all of our shows, theme park news, Disney movies, and more. So click the link in the show notes to check it all out. Before we dive into our topic, let's say hi to the rest of the crew. We got Sam. How's it going, Sam?
Hey, it's good. Definitely excited to talk about Tomorrowland because we have a lot of things that we can be done. Because as we've all said many times, Tomorrowland was Yesterdayland.
Yes, we have a lot of great ideas, so it's going to be a fun one for sure. Lou, what's up? L Money, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Glad to be back. I took last week off unintentionally, but intentionally, but I'm stoked to be back and ready to level out Tomorrowland.
I knew it. You're bringing out those bulldozers. I called it. That's okay. Sometimes we gotta level stuff before we can build. So I'm excited to see what you got up your sleeve for Tomorrowland. Next, we have Kevin. We're in the park team.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to talk about some tomorrow. Yeah.
And we have a special guest, the one and only Shawn Williams. How's it going, Shawn?
It's going good. Man, you kick butt with your intro. I'm like, damn, I need to take notes from you on how to do an intro. That was awesome. I'm glad to be here. I've never been on this show, and I listened to it when I put together, but I'm like, damn, this sounds like fun. I asked Amanda the other night when they were going to record, can I be on? And she's like, how about Wednesday? I'm like, let's go. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know about the pyramid. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I'm here, and I'll just throw out my stuff, and we'll have some fun. But thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. The door is always open. Well,
You might regret
if
that.
you've been following along in our journey over the last few months, and I hope you have, we have been discussing the lands that are both at Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom. So we've talked about Main Street USA, Adventureland, Frontierland, and Fantasyland. And today we're finishing this series with Tomorrowland. And as we've already discussed, we have some very strong ideas of how this land can be improved and plussed, but we always start with the story, right? Because that's the cornerstone of our pyramid, as well as the creative intent, the first two blocks. So, Kevin, tell us about the story and creative intent behind Tomorrowland.
Well, obviously, Tomorrowland is based on the world of tomorrow. That's the idea that Walt had for this land. Originally, it was the land of tomorrow. It also became the world of tomorrow at one point in time. The concept kept changing. It's one of those lands where it wasn't in the earliest drafts as far as like what they were planning to build over by the studios. If you know that part of the story, back before there was Disneyland over in Anaheim, he was planning to build a little park in Burbank. And in the new book that they just came out with, the D23 gift, brought to you by Chris Merritt and Don Hahn, there's actually some early sketches in there by an Imagineer named Mark Davis, where it shows one of those early sketches where it actually has a spot kind of in a funny spot where it's near like a Cinderella something, like a shop, and a Pinocchio square. There's a rocket ship over there as well. So it was like the idea of having rocket ships and something futuristic has been in Walt's mind at least since like 1951, 1952. But it wasn't until 1953 that they created the first actual like drawing of the map that had a land of tomorrow. And when the park was getting built in 1955. Well, it's like they were coming around the bend there after starting construction. Tomorrowland was just kind of sitting there, right, without any construction happening for a while until finally Walt decided, hey, we're having this TV show talking about Tomorrowland. We need to build a Tomorrowland. So it kind of got rushed into production as just a showplace for companies to show what they were working on, which is fine because that actually fits into the theme as far as it's the world of tomorrow. When the park did finally open, there was a plaque that was in place in front of Tomorrowland. And I'm going to read the whole thing right now because it's not that long. It's just like two little stanzas. It's a vista into a world of wondrous ideas, signifying man's achievements, a step into the future with predictions of constructive things to come. Tomorrow offers new frontiers in science, adventure, and ideals, the atomic age, the challenge of outer space, and the hope for a peaceful and unified world. So that's the idea, is that it's trying to show more of a utopian future, whereas at the time, a lot of like, and even today, a lot of science fiction likes to show more of a dystopian future. It sells more. It's a little more catchy. But Walt, being the optimist that he was, wanted to have a showplace for what the future would hold. And that's what Tomorrowland essentially was. One of the only attractions that they ever showed in those earlier drawings was the drive yourself freeway of tomorrow, which we now know as the Autopia. Because at the time in 1955, freeways didn't exist. Like as far as interstate freeways, it was an idea that we knew was coming, but it wasn't here yet. And that's kind of the problem with Tomorrowland, is that everything that they try to put in there where they know it's coming soon, so you put it in there as something coming tomorrow, tomorrow comes pretty quickly. And like Sam said before, it becomes yesterday. So that's kind of like it's hard to even verbalize it for myself, where it's the situation that they're in right now as far as trying to balance that. How do we do the impossible of showing what's going to be available tomorrow, but also have a land that's constantly in a theme park? And that's why over time it's kind of become more of a fantasy land with a futuristic theme. That's the reason why you have Buzz Lightyear over there and Star Tours. Even Space Mountain, like that's not based on any kind of reality. It's just they wanted a roller coaster. I mean, at the time, again, it was ahead of its time. It was the first computer-controlled roller coaster. So at the time, yes, it was the way of the future. But now, 1977 is long in the past. So that's kind of where this all starts.
There you go.
What do you
And
guys think?
it's gonna be very interesting to pick apart what is currently at the parks and what we like, what we don't like, how things are working or not working, and how we can improve things. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion today. Real quick, I just wanted to show roughly where the boundaries are for Tomorrowland. So if you are listening in audio land, just want to hop over to our YouTube page where we can see these visuals. So we have the map of Tomorrowland at Disneyland. It's a pretty big space, but there's a lot of rides that are taking over this space. With we have Space Mountain, Autopia. It goes back pretty far, and there's a lot of land to be utilized here. And then at Walt Disney World, um, seems like a pretty similar footprint, just angled a little bit differently. But you have Space Mountain and Tron in the back right, and some bigger show buildings up front. And then their Tomorrowland Speedway is their version of Autopia in the back center there. So
Is that
that
the
is kind
test
of
track?
the. I'm sorry?
Is that the test track right there in the
No,
middle?
test track is in Epcot.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So it's pretty much their Autopia. It has 4
Okay.
tracks. It's
It's like
just
the Tomorrowland
shorter.
Speedway.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tomorrowland Speedway.
Mhm. Yeah. And it needs some serious revamping.
Just a little bit. So why don't we get into our revamp ideas, and we'll build in some of the things that are in the pyramid as we go along, because we've already hashed out what is within the pyramid. So if you haven't listened already, go back to all of our episodes. We did like 10 episodes on the pyramid itself. So
Yeah, Shawn.
Lou, why don't we start with you? What are some of your ideas for revamping Tomorrowland? And how many bulldozers are you using?
I'm using as many as Anaheim has in their zone.
Damn.
I mean, okay, so I put a lot of thought in this. There's a lot of nostalgia rides, like the submarines, Autotopia. There's those that are like very iconic rides, but the entire land is shot. It's outdated. It's even Space Mountain, as cool as it is, can be way better. I went to the parks recently, about 2 weeks ago. We didn't step a single foot in Tomorrowland, except for the train station. Tomorrowland, I can go to the parks all day, every day, and never step foot. Actually, I lied. I apologize. I stepped into the Fantasyland expansion into Tomorrowland, which is Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. Which the only thing that's Tomorrowland about that is the fact that it's themed to Tomorrowland. Once you get in there, it's traditional dark ride. There's nothing Tomorrowland about it. But you're bulldozing everything. And Amanda, if you don't mind bringing back up the footprint to Disneyland's Tomorrowland. So, one, I think the footprint has to shift. I think you take Autotopia and you split the difference between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. Obviously, I was not here for Fantasyland, so I couldn't get into that part. But you take about half that, I would say go diagonal from where Matterhorn Mountain is to the top right corner. Everything left of that is Fantasyland. Everything right of that is Tomorrowland. But we don't have it here in this picture. And but if you look at the Disney bus parking, there's two sides in the Toy Story park. You take this one down, by the way. The Toy Story parking lot, you don't need those other bus lanes. Those are so very little used. Get rid of those bus lanes on the left-hand side. The two on the Toy Story side, keep those. But the other ones that are there, you don't need them. You take that and annex that into Tomorrowland now. So the space you lose on closest to Fantasyland, you take that space out of those decorative bus lanes that only have buses going in and out of them in the early morning and the very late evening. You don't see a whole lot of foot traffic in there outside of a few shuttles. And guess what? Those shuttles can be redirected to the Mickey and Friends parking structure that has a whole entire space dedicated to small shuttles right across from the trams. They have a whole parking station to drop off and pick up there. There's that Mickey's shuttle there all the time. Reroute them over there. The buses can use the Toy Story loop, but the opposite ones, the little shuttles, put them in the Mickey and Friends tram. There's a crosswalk there. There's a whole space right across the walkway there. So you level out Tomorrowland. Nothing lasts. Everything's gone. All those rides are antique, can be remodeled. The fact that Rise of the Repair seems more Tomorrowland than Space Mountain, its most iconic attraction, says something. So right now, I'm gonna let everyone else go real quick. But first and foremost, you level everything at Tomorrowland.
That's harsh.
I mean, I don't disagree. I'm keeping Space Mountain, but it's getting a huge overhaul, and Sunny Eclipse stays. But for anybody who doesn't know who Sunny Eclipse is, he's the performer in, oh my gosh, what is it? Cosmic Rays. So, but everything else can go as far as that. So I am taking the entire land and I am turning it into like a living research center, including aliens. So it's going to be an intergalactic hub for research where space research all comes together along with human research. We're like building a storyline where we're trying to learn to live in space. And that's kind of how I'm going to make the whole land. Definitely swapping out the 1950s chrome look and putting more modular pieces, living topiaries, lighting changes that change by time of day. I thought about like in Hunger Games, you know how they have that giant dome over them where it like can control like everything that they're seeing. It can change day to night. It can, you can see the night sky or you could see a storm or whatever, having like that kind of technology and mapping it over the entire thing. So you're like in a dome when you're in the land. And and then you can make it look like whatever adventure you want. They could have a few different ones. I want interactive pavement surfaces, so they're like pressure sensitive, so when you walk on them they light up and stuff. And I thought about doing like AI kiosks, so where like you could scan your magic band and it remembers your preferences from the last time. They're like, last time you were here, you ordered da 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 da. Would you like to order this again? And then, yeah, you can do a lot with magic bands too, with the tech and just having it remember who you were last time you were there. And of course, I reimagined all of the attractions too, but that's my overall, like, what I want to see, big picture, my storytelling.
I like it. No, I definitely think that Tomorrowland's a hard one when it comes to stories. 'Cause like Kevin said, and we've already shared, it's hard to stay ahead of what is up and coming, and without it costing a fortune to continuously innovate. That's the fine line which is why it's set the way that it's set for as long as it has. But I think that they do have the technology to make something great. They just aren't utilizing the space properly. So I'm curious to hear what everyone else has to say, but I think we need to take a quick break and hear from Sunken City Designs.
Ooh.
Sunken City Designs brings you art. Do you like art? I know I do. How about art based on Disney characters, like Mickey Mouse and the Oyster Thief? You know, that's actually from Alice in Wonderland, the best princess movie ever made. Also, we have some dwarfs that have their heads ripped off sometimes. Why? I don't know. It's because it's Sunken City Design. So go there, sunkencitydesign.com. Get yourself some great merchandise. You got posters and, I believe, clothes. Who knows? I got a cup from there and it's fantastic. You like cups? Do you ever use those? I do. Go for it. Oh yeah, sweatshirts. Can't forget about those. If you're ever cold, get yourself a sweatshirt from sunkencitydesign.com. Also, WALL-E. You know, that's the best movie ever made. Second only to Alice in Wonderland. All right. If you also like Walt's apartment, they have merch for that too. Where? sunkencitydesign.com. Hopefully you've already loaded up that site and you're looking at it and you have some items in your cart. Go ahead and check out as soon as you can because show's about to come back on. All right, everybody. We appreciate you.
We do appreciate Sunken City Designs. Lou, what's up? What's the latest with Sunken City?
Well, the business failed. No, I'm playing. So right now we are completely revamping the website, updating it. We just wrapped up our Sublime Life Sobriety Festival event, which was super rad. What a wonderful event. The Noel family really put on a banger of a show. If you like Sublime in any way, shape, or form, their music was all over, but the vibe was amazing. So as of right now, we are revamping the website, but also getting prepared for the summer season, as well as preparing for the Halloween season, where a lot of our designs dwell better in the Halloween season. So as of right now, the website is anticipated to reopen at the end of June if all things go well. We are adding skateboards to the deck, skateboards to the website, which we already had, but allowing them more easy transition from purchasing them to them shipping to you. There was some hiccups in that department, also adjusting to any shipping changes, shipping challenges with all the ongoing changes in the world today.
That makes sense. I'm excited to see what you come up with the new website's looking like and all the changes to come. Exciting times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, getting back to our Tomorrowland conversation, one thing that I think is all on our minds is the People Mover track. And
Bring back the rocket
we're-
rods.
That was at Disneyland.
Right.
I'm kidding. Sorry.
No. It's one of those things that the people mover track has been sitting vacant, rusting for a very long time. And I have some ideas that tie into my overall theme, but I wanted to hear from you guys first. What should we do with this people mover? Do we keep it? Do we get rid of it? Do we leave as is to rust?
I mean, it's made out of concrete, so it's not completely rusting.
It's rusted.
It
It's
it makes a
bad.
nice
everywhere.
umbrella. It's a very nice umbrella that it's above you as you walk through Tomorrowland. You know,
It's
it
the
blocks
only
the sun
shade
out.
in that land.
It's a great source. Yeah. So if you want to throw more shade on it, what do you guys have ideas for?
Well, in the
So
future there
I
is
mean,
no shade, so it works
Oh,
out.
okay. All right. That's
Oh
fair.
no.
No,
oh
no shade in
shit.
the
So
future.
Did
Holy
we
crap.
lose the
you'll
sun?
you'll
The
need
sun went
shade in
away?
the future.
Damn.
No, it's just there's
No, you have nothing but
just
sun.
it's hot
This is
all the
bright
time.
sun.
The sun is everywhere. The trees have died, and yeah,
Says
it's
who?
just it's a
See, that's
just
the
an
dystopian future
apocalyptic.
that Walt was trying to get away from.
Yeah, it's Wally. It's Wally all the time.
No.
Oh no. Oh
No.
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 I
That's a
had to
whole
throw it
nother
out there because
But
that's a whole
that's
nother
okay.
show.
That's okay because that's part of the intergalactic hub that I was talking about. The aliens taught us how to revive our land, how to revive our trees, or how to create trees that would work in space. It's okay.
Okay.
It's teamwork.
Okay, good. There's hope for humanity. That's good.
So
All right.
me, I got tons of ideas for the people mover. The people mover is probably the only attraction that I think comes back in full force in Tomorrowland after you level it all out. Yeah, so here's why. You create that as like we have the monorail, which the monorail's cool, but they use the monorail more as it's simply a transportation device from Tomorrowland, a viewpoint to downtown Disney. But People Mover becomes the space train of the Skyway. So not the Skyway buckets, but you have it roam the outskirt of the land, just like the train. Obviously, take a lot of construction, but you create it to go the outer rim of the park through Tomorrowland, but you also have it travel to California Adventure and have a station. But then you also have it travel down to downtown Disney because they are going that retro modern look. And I think a people mover would look really cool and add some kinetics to downtown Disney, the same way the monorail does. But imagine having the people mover train carts of what, 5 or 6 at any given moment with small gaps in between. You have a station in downtown Disney, you have a station in DCA, and you have a station in Disneyland. But you also create some tunnels where it allows storytelling the same way like Jurassic Park, how they sit there on that DNA ride where it's like it's turning, but your tunnels where you're kind of going through and there's little slideshows in these tunnels telling you about future. The same way the train does when it talks about the rivers of America, the prehistoric land of the Grand Canyon, all that same, nothing too crazy, nothing crazy technology, but just some canopies to create shade, but also in those canopies, those tunnels, you're getting more story development depending on where you are at any given moment. Maybe you're talking about early California. Maybe as you're going downtown to downtown Disney, you're talking about the inspirations of that. When you're in Tomorrowland, you're learning about what Walt was doing to get us today. But it's the train of the sky, and you have it going through all 3 parks in the Disneyland Resort. Because the mono,
Wild. Like at 4 miles an hour, or like whatever it goes, or like a little bit faster.
like a lazy river in the sky. Like no one rides the people mover for any type of thrill. You're riding the people mover to get up off your feet, kill about a dozen churros, and just vibe. Like you're not doing it for anything spectacular other than take a load off. So like, why not give us that here?
I love your idea. I'm gonna add on to it and say that we also need stops at the Disney property hotels.
That'd be rad.
That would be the longest ride ever.
like get it, or have a depot like they have with the monorail station at Walt Disney World, where you get off of one. One is the park loop, one is the hotel loop. And so that way, if you need to go to Pixar Pier, if you want to go, or not Pixar Pier, Pixar Hotel, if you want to go to the Great Maple for dinner, but you don't want to walk the 17 blocks to get there, you just hop on the People Mover and head over there, hop back on, and you're right back at downtown Disney, and you're cool.
And that's the thing, Shawn. You don't have to stay on the entire time. If you're like, hey, I'm
right
gonna
now, I guess that
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go 2 or 3 stops, and then I'm gonna get off and walk the rest of the way, and save yourself time that way.
That's a great idea.
All the while, like it's. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just pulled up a map because what you were saying reminded me of something. Actually, in the line for rocket rods, they had a map where rocket rods today takes you by, Star Tours and Space Mountain, but had a bunch of future stations on this map of Angel Stadium and the Ducks because they owned them back then, and then had the beach, the airport, California Adventure, which was coming soon at that point in time, the Disneyland Resort hotels, Hollywood, Walt Disney Studios, and the mountains. They're all future stations on the Rocket Rod's proposed system expansion map that they had in line for that ride.
Fantastic. Let's do that.
There you go.
At 4 miles an hour, it's going to take you a day to get there, but hey,
enjoy the ride. The Rocket Rod's a little faster.
That's right.
Yeah, the People Mover, that might be extensive, but to give you a sense of time too, the Universal Studio Tram is online stated to be between 30 to 45 minutes, and people pack the house for that ride. People will ride the train around Disneyland, which I would say, I don't think there's an actual time frame on it, but I think you're probably pushing 25 to 45 minutes on the train.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see people complaining, but then again, though, many Disney enthusiasts that would probably ride this are just simply riding it to say, "Hey, why not?"
Yeah. And if it's the People Mover, everyone's excited because everyone's in love with the People Mover. So that would just be exciting for everyone.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Let's make it happen.
Something would be a great way to market it as well.
Are you saying like really high up, Lou? Like you're saying like in the sky, like higher than like the monorail, or just like that kind of that same height as the monorail?
You would obviously probably have to go a little higher in some sections, but I would probably say no higher than what that main stretch in Tomorrowland is. I would probably say right about there, because the cool thing about it is you get to see what's going on below you at a much more manageable pace.
Yeah.
That also gives you a lot of opportunities to cut in and out of rides and buildings and create more natural canopies, so to say. So I would say probably about the same height as the monorail, maybe a little bit lower, so it shows train, People Mover, monorail, that whole layer system of technology. But yeah, I would say about the same height it's at that same stretch in Tomorrowland.
You guys ever seen that picture that they posted years ago? And it was literally like the 4 tiers. It was the submarine, and it was the Autopia, and the People Mover, and the monorail, and the train, like all in one picture. It's like one of the coolest pictures I've been, like just all the levels of. I think that was cool.
Yeah. And Lou, to your point, you can have a People Mover station at DCA at the newly expanded Avengers hallway as it goes into Hollywoodland, because it could be like a Stark type of building of some kind. And there's your station.
Yeah,
you guys with your nicknames, Avengers hallway.
Well, you could change the themes to like just like the way the train station does. All the stations are themed, like they're obviously train stations, but the lamps change. The Tomorrowland station is probably the most unique, second best to Toontown station. Toontown and Tomorrowland station are probably the most uniquely dressed ones. Main Street in New Orleans, they're very similar in the sense of like features, but yeah. Retheme them. Why not? It'd be cool.
Then you get a whole new merch line for each station. You could put a food cart in each station with specialty snacks.
Especially if you created different ways to create different lines, like especially being Walt's love for trains, and you have like Grand Central Station where certain cars have a certain theme to them because hey, this is the Galaxy's Edge line. Where you catch this one, it goes straight to Galaxy's Edge and back, where it shows like it's pieced together like a bunch of junkyard pieces. But then you have like the mid-century modern line that takes you to downtown Disney, and you theme them very similar like the Skyway buckets are in Florida, where they have different characters on them. Not that that's exactly the same, but it'd be interesting. Create one giant turntable where you catch it and it's like, hey, this is going here. And maybe you go a little bit faster than 4 miles an hour. Maybe you go like 8.
There you go. That's what a great idea. Can you imagine the construction on that? If for what you're saying of like, my God, it would just take 10 years to do everything you're saying. I mean, wow, it's a great idea.
The best part about that, though, is we don't have to worry about the construction. We just get to talk about the ideas.
Right, that's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
You're creating so many new jobs with that too. It's fantastic.
Right? Disneyland forward. That's wild.
I dig it. All right. What else? What other ideas do we have? We haven't heard from Shawn or Kevin yet with their ideas.
I'll just say that if you know who I am, you know that I love like old Disney and like all the Disneyland stuff. And for you talking about tearing everything out, just like guts me to my core. But now that I sit here and think about it and look at, I have never really looked at the map like you just showed there. I'm like, man, that is a lot of wasted space. So yeah, maybe it's time to rip it out. But maybe I don't know. You just think about like Autopia and the submarines, which is one of the most expensive attractions to actually run in the park because of the cost, the upkeep cost. I mean, it would make sense to take them out and get rid of a basically huge fish tank in the middle of the park. And what else could you do with it? Autopia, I think if you could create something with like flying cars. I mean, everyone always thinks like, flying. I think they said one time Tomorrowland was supposed to be based on like the mid 80s when they first designed it. That was the idea. But I mean, now 1986. Okay. And if you have like a flying car attraction, I don't know how that would look or what it would look like. But I mean, getting rid of Space Mountain, oof, that's tough. But Buzz, you could. And then my other question is, if you're talking about Tomorrowland and like the future, isn't that what Galaxy's Edge is like the future and futuristic? And so are you gonna why not just bring more aspects of that, or even if you were to bring Marvel aspects, because a lot of Marvel stuff is in the future, like you could put Marvel and Star Wars in there. I don't even know where to start with. I'm just thinking ideas you could put in that space to make it more futuristic. If that's your focus is futuristic, you're looking at what Disney already has. You could do an Incredibles. I mean, there's already Incredibles. I mean, there's so many things that are futuristic that I don't know. I'm rambling, but I think you just take some of these Star Wars, Marvel kind of things, and you put them there as well, even though you have that stuff in your hallway across the other, other thing. But go ahead, Lou. You're waving your hands. Go ahead.
Well, you said Galaxy's Edge, so I know we're a PG show. So Galaxy's Edge is when a relationship forms between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland, and I'm going to leave it at that. That is the birth child of those two.
Tomorrowland already has a relationship with Fantasyland, but also Star Wars, just so we're all clear, takes place a long, long time ago.
It looks futuristic. I mean, you're saying a long time ago there's flying cars and now there's not flying stuff?
I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of these movies before, but
I have. Oh, you're absolutely correct. But when does that really?
It's just a galaxy far, far away.
Sure. Yeah, a long time ago. Wait, how long ago? It could have been. Yeah, but I don't know.
Long time ago.
Taking out the monorail, you can't do it. But I mean, you can.
I think you can keep the monorail. The monorail you can keep. You can't use a bulldozer to take out a monorail. It's kind of in the sky. Yeah, you can take out its pillars, but I was meaning ground level.
Sure.
But the monorail just needs to be rerouted because when it comes back, you're just doing donuts around Nemo and Matterhorn for like 10 minutes.
100%. Yeah.
It's like what are we doing? Like there's like 900 feet of track for you to park right there. But then when it go from Tomorrowland to downtown Disney, it goes through the park so quick. It's like me eating a churro. Like it's gone in seconds. Like,
Yeah.
what did I see? I think for the monorail could stay. The monorail just needs to be utilized a little better.
Well, now your people mover idea for the monorail would be great. I mean, all over everywhere, going into DCA and going over here and then dropping off over here. That, I mean, because it's a little bit faster too. I mean, it would definitely help with people. I don't like it's I guess that's how it is in Florida. Like it's actually used for transportation. And let's be real, in Anaheim
Florida,
it's used.
stops.
No, that's what I'm saying, but
Florida,
it's
it's only one stop though. It's not actual transportation in Florida.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot bigger.
Also,
too,
but
right?
the monorail though was also one stop when it first opened. It was expanded later to the hotel. So
Right.
there's like that has happened historically for an attraction to be just in the park, which is why it does the weird loops above the Autopia. Is because that was the ride when it first opened. But we could expand past the park. It has happened before with the monorail, so it is
Yeah.
something that can do again.
For sure.
The monorail, though, I don't think you can have the people mover go into almost any land and dress it up to fit that land.
Good.
The
Yeah,
monorail
absolutely.
going through like New Orleans might be a stretch. Unless you have like cameos of like Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith meetups and they're just out there just barbing you real quick every time it passes by, then maybe you could play it off. But the monorail and Tomorrow are in New Orleans might be a stretch. But the people mover, you could probably make that work.
Yeah,
Like it's not too futuristic. It's funny though.
I'm liking your idea more and more that we sit here and just to keep talking about the people mover. That's a
Well, you're not gonna like my ride idea. I'll tell you that much.
all right.
You're gonna hate my
What's your
you're gonna
ride
hate my ride
idea?
idea. So it's Wally, straight up Wally.
You know
So-
what, Lou? I'm going to stop you for a second. In this land, I understand why it would go there.
Okay.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying I would run to rope drop it, but I would check it out. But in this land, if you're going off what Sam said about the futuristic and that kind of thing and what Wally's about, I still hate the movie, but I think it fits in that land, and that idea would fit in Tomorrowland for sure. Why? I mean, why wouldn't you think? And everyone else likes it, so it'd be popular, obviously. So, but go ahead.
So Wally's this ride, it takes the same technology, the trackless features from Mickey and Minnie's and Rise of the Repairs. And what it is that scene from the way like Rogue Robots, and you're trying to escape that station with the plant. Obviously, we just talked about the future. You know, Mad Max says there's no green, there's no nothing. Well, now we're trying to restore life. So if we took that storyline of Tomorrowland and you made it that like attraction, like Rise of the Repair is, don't make it too crazy so you don't need to repair everything. It'd be kind of odd to have a bunch of fix-it machines that don't fix nothing. But you're basically escaping the steering wheel character in the Axiom, that the ship, and you're escaping that with Wally and Eve kind of pulling you around. But the pod you're in can be some type of robot name. You could call it PO. Well, you probably don't want to call it PO. That's probably aggressive. But like, it's a cool name. And then you're in that machine, and like Wally and Eve are guiding it on the track. You know, when you saw Mo, he couldn't go off his course because that's his track. Well, you take him, but then you have like little secret Easter eggs. And Bernie, if you ever seen Bernie, that's a deep cut there for anybody. Bernie's the one at the escape door, allowing you to exit the Axiom, landing back here on Earth to bring the plant back for life. And then where that big old spherical water ball is, that you have that, and you just do a small little Wally meet and greet there. And it's a little robotic animatronic, and it's like that first tree being planted. And then you give the entire land a story about recycling, regeneration, all that. And then it allows us some breathability on what is futuristic.
There you go. I actually like that. That's a really good idea.
All right. Instead of a pod, if you make the ride vehicle one of those hover chairs, I'm all in.
You can just sit like this.
Yep. Give me a soda. I'll be on the
Yes.
ride all the time.
Oh my gosh.
And
It's
bring beverages on.
the new people
Oh,
mover.
and
It's
you,
like-
and then you put the fat people mask on that they get when they open it, and then you can use that
100%.
with like some better Super Mario technology to like project things on there so you see more in the ride.
Oh.
Probably
Man,
not.
this would
Probably
make
not.
me like Wally more, I think, if we did this. Let's go.
We have to do this.
I don't know why. I
Forward
don't know
this
why you hate
episode to.
Wally.
I just think I just don't like it. But
So Lou, where is this ride going? Like in the current format of Tomorrowland.
This would take over Space Mountain's footprint and what's behind Space Mountain on that bus track that I'm talking about.
Okay.
It'd be cool on the backside of the bus track. They have a little animatronic there that you can see from the bus, and it's Bernie, just waiting. So yeah, he's always there waiting. Like we're gonna see him in a minute. Like we're gonna know why he's there waiting at that light switch.
I like that.
Well,
That's a good idea.
There's still in utilizing that space where the buses currently go, you do have room like on the side of the alien pizza planet to have that be like keep Space Mountain, keep the pizza planet, but have on the other side of that be your entrance and have the ride go back and behind because you don't need to see the show building. You know?
Very true.
Yeah.
I also just think Space Mountain's trash. I'm being 100% honest.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay, so let me jump into my idea for Space Mountain then and see if we can save it. What if they made you feel like you were going through a wormhole? But you know how in Loki, when he's being like sucked through time, how you get like different glimpses of things? So what if that's happening while you're going through? So it's like you get a glimpse of something on like a screen and then you're sucked back into darkness, and then like another glimpse of something and you're sucked back into darkness, and like you hear the sound effects and like there's a whole storyline that goes along with it.
Like on a fast roller coaster?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That could work because they do those like
themed.
Yeah, because they do those ghost things in the screen.
Yeah, it's this like a teleportation theme, not a space theme at that point. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, like you're going through a wormhole.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
makes more sense.
That could be rad.
So we can keep Space Mountain and put your building behind it.
You can move Space Mountain, or you could put that what he's talking about anywhere. You can take out the Utopias if you really want to. A lot of freaking space up there to put what Louis is talking about.
Did you just say we can take out the Autopia?
Well, I mean,
wow, Shawn, it show's growing on Shawn.
We have to. I mean, if we're changing things, it's not the future anymore. If it's Kevin said it was designed. I'm not a fan of it.
For sure, you're like it's an opening day. That's a Bobby G ride. We're not touching it.
It is. Well, you shouldn't, but I understand. Let's be real. I mean, that is a lot of wasted space for a ride that's really uncomfortable, and the cars are really hard to drive. Let's be real. It's not. You could do a lot with that, and it's not futuristic. If that's what the theme of this is being futuristic, a car that has a lawnmower engine pushing it is not futuristic.
I mean, I'm keeping Speedway too.
Okay.
But I would do like a track. The track would be divided into 4 different types of terrain, and your mission would be to test ride vehicles on different terrains. So there would be like a section of the track would be like your Rocky Mars, like something that can go underwater. Hang on, I wrote my other ideas down. Like a lunar surface, and then like a futuristic city street with like billboards all around. So we could use screens to do all of that easily. And honestly, in Tomorrowland, I don't mind if everything is a screen. Like
that's fair. I agree. Yeah. As long as they don't make it 3D to where you're going to get sick. If they could do without the 3D glasses, because I can't wear 3D glasses.
I was thinking like you could do like onboard screens, so like you can see them in your car, or like AR like visors.
Yeah. But now, like the Mario ride, that was okay for me when I did that. The one where you're racing the car, but I didn't talk about I know you might not think it was a good sickness, but the way it looks, I didn't get sick on that one. So,
I mean, to be completely honest, the gas guzzling cars got to go though. The smell of Tomorrowland is disgusting.
Well, that is going away in 2026. They're supposedly they're switching to EV.
Yeah, to electrical. Yeah.
Now batteries are going to be dying on the track. Yeah, I thought that was a couple of years ago they made that, or last year sometime.
No, there was an LA Times reporter who surmised that that's what they were saying.
Oh, I
and they
thought it
said
was
that
happening.
They said that they would be changing that attraction from a gas engine in the future.
I thought it was
They
2026.
really said.
I
It could
I
have very well
believe
meant
so.
that it would be closed. I don't think they said
Yeah.
a date. I think it was just
Okay.
LA Times reporter said, "Hey, they're changing it to electric because they said," and then everyone just ran with it without like reading the article. It was really weird.
Or you could
Well-
take out that big circular building that housed America Sings and put Lewis's right there too. So, you know,
Speaking of Bobby G, I know we talked about that. He did share when we met him that there is talks of it. Like even he's in that they're supposed to be going electric. Now, but like Kevin said, it hasn't really been announced. But Bobby G himself is spitting some stories. But you know, he built Disneyland the second time, so you can't disgrace that.
And then I thought
Might
for
be an
the exit area of that ride, we could include actual examples of green travel that we currently have. So like Tesla, the Hyperloop, the SpaceX, Starship, like all that stuff. Could have like those being displayed, portrayed, kind of like an educational experience when you're getting off. At this point, you could even have a Lego station of all those things where you can build your own green vehicle.
that'd be a cool idea too. Like you're like just like kind of like on the Cars ride where you're getting your car ready for the race. You're going through different things to get it ready. That's a good idea.
Yeah, but I mean,
this
if there's a store at the end of it, then it could like kind of like instead of like build your own droid, it's like build your own future, like travel for the future kind of thing.
This is cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how much fun this was doing this.
Yeah. But just to add on to that real quick, like, I mean, with Test Track, I'm surprised they don't do that. Of like the options that you have for Test Track could be things that you could actually buy. So if you have a really cool car that you just designed, hey, at the end of the gift shop, you can actually create that same car and take it home.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. So the only difference
3.0 is coming soon. So we'll see what it's like when they open it.
Yeah. So the only difference for me there is like you're just building it's instead of what you're building your own car, you're not building your own car. You have the vehicle that is provided for you for the attraction. And then when you get off, you can build like the examples that we already have. So it's like bringing that modern day into like what the future research is already looking like.
That's cool.
I like it.
I love
like it.
Well, we've been talking about how we can improve and enhance Tomorrowland, and it's time to hear from one of our sponsors and how you can enhance your everyday theme park experience with We're in the Park.
Hey fam, what scavenger hunt are you doing?
Well, we are doing We're in the Park. Do you guys know We're in the Park? Because we do.
We do. So how you play this is that they give you a deck of cards with an image on it, and you get to look around and see where in the park that is.
And they're fun. So if you like to find stuff, this is what you need to do.
The amazing game. We're in the park right here. If you're a seasoned Disney park goers as we are, it's a fun, challenging even for the hardcore Disney parks fan.
We have played the Where in the Park games that we felt like, ooh, we got
still a challenge.
Oh no, yeah, still a challenge, a fun challenge though, not an impossible challenge.
They get really close to details, and you're like, I have never even seen that. I don't even know.
Where in the park have I seen that?
The great thing about these is that they're not in attractions and they're out in the open places. It's meant for families to play.
Besides people who've been there a lot, it's fun for people that are new to the parks as well, because you catch some of those details that you would probably miss when you're first going.
So there's images that you are finding on one side of the card, and then the other has the hint and the answer that you can reveal if you choose to.
Before it was just the hint and the answer, but now if you really want the land,
it'll tell you
they'll
where.
give you the land for an extra hint. You guys can take as long as you wish without the hint.
Yeah.
Without the hint, it's hard.
But that's what makes it fun.
But they do not just do Disney parks, obviously. What other parks do you guys actually cover?
Universal and all that good stuff.
East Coast, West Coast, and they're continuing to expand even more after that.
Check them out, we'reinthepark.com if you need to get some game packs. They are so much fun.
We appreciate We're in the Park.
They're awesome.
We love
Kevin and
that.
Amanda.
Get you some We're in the Park today.
Hell yeah.
Use promo code Walt's APT Podcast to save 10% at whereinthepark.com.
And we're back.
Boom.
So, Kevin, what's going on with Where in the Park?
I don't know what is going on. We're like
Oh.
still making games, I think, right? Do we have any? Are they still available on our website?
They are available on our website.
Oh, perfect. Is there a coupon code people can use who are listening to this?
Yes, Walt's
APT Pod. Sorry, I get
Oh my
excited.
goodness.
Oh,
Perfect.
yes.
How was your guys'
So,
event over the weekend?
It was
It's a lot of
great.
fun.
Yeah, we were at the DFC Expo again in Irvine, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Bob Gurr was there, Terry Harden was there, and some amazing vendors that we have been co-vendors with
Nice.
over the years. It's twice a year, so it's always good to reconnect with everybody and see.
I
where
was just getting
everyone's at.
hungry from your post of the food. You were posting like food from this place. I'm
Oh.
like, damn, that looked good. Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to grab some more next time and share with you.
All right.
They're fantastic.
Should all come down for that. That looked great.
Yeah, come on, Nick.
He said, "Food, I'm in."
Let's go.
I'm in. All right, so back to Tomorrowland. We could go on for 5 hours on Tomorrowland.
Poor Louis wants to just gut it with a bulldozer, man. That hurts. But I'm starting to catch on to this, how you guys do this now. So maybe it's got to happen to some of these things. Maybe you fill in the lagoon and, I don't know.
It's so funny because when we had Fantasyland the last time and all of us agreed it was really hard to find ways to enhance Fantasyland. We still had some
Sure.
ideas, but it was like it's practically perfect, which is why that was the title of the episode, because we're like, how it's so compact and well put together and all the things, whereas Tomorrowland is the complete opposite of that. There's so much opportunity
Yeah.
and extra space that we can utilize in different ways. So then it became the opposite issue of, well, what do we do with all of this space? So
Yeah, what do we keep,
let's
if
talk
anything?
more about the three biggest or two biggest spaces that I see are a big waste of space right now, and that's Innoventions and
Absolutely.
the Captain EO Theater. It is vacant.
Why did they just not play Captain EO? Why did they just not have Captain EO playing in there? It's not going to hurt anyone, and it'd be cool as hell. People would love to go back and watch that because it was cool.
It was cool, but
I guess it was
I don't
in the
know.
80s though too, so not that cool now. But
I mean, have you seen the Carousel of Progress?
I've heard of. I've seen I've seen breakdowns of it, so I think that's the best part. And the guy's like,
Carousel of Progress is another one that the last scene needs some enhancements to make it a little bit more futuristic, because we have a lot of that technology that's in that last scene, and with all of our robotic technology and all of that, so we can definitely.
I'm getting rid of
enhance-
Carousel of Progress.
Wow, you're gonna scrap it all together?
I am. I do not have any nostalgic value to Carousel of Progress.
So just so I understand, the Carousel of Progress is kind of like what America Sings was. Is it the same kind of idea, like the rotating
Well, it's the
room?
Same kind of theater.
The theaters,
Yeah.
From one show scene to the next, yeah.
I mean,
crazy
we
that
can
just
keep the
sits there.
carousel, but I wouldn't tell the same story.
Yeah, it's crazy that
Like-
just sits there. That technology is just sitting there and it's not being used except to house Darth Vader and a
I don't
DVC
know if it was
line
maintained
or
well
whatever it
enough.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Are
for
we talking about?
the
Oh, yeah. So
haven't
have you said your ideas? Yeah, say your ideas for these two.
Oh, no.
These two locations.
Because I just had one that just popped into my brain.
go for it.
We actually have new things that are being researched and tested all around the world that we don't know shit about. NASA's doing things, Disney's doing things, they're developing new technology. Like, there's new technology being delivered all the time. Why aren't we showcasing those things in Carousel of Progress?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the big problem, right, that we have as a people these days is like back in 55 when Disney was designing this park, companies had research and development divisions where they would pay a lot of money to have people think up ideas and create new things. Liked having a showcase to show off what they were working on before they'd have people randomly come in and steal that idea from them. So we have it where nowadays companies don't really have that. They look at what people are creating. You have a lot of inventors putting stuff up on like Kickstarter or whatever, and then if a company likes the idea, they will just buy that from that person and sell it as their own. So we don't really have the environment that we had back then as far as being able to showcase what's coming soon, because no one knows what's coming soon. Not like anyone really did, but you don't have companies that are going to pay for showing what they are working on these days.
But what we do have is we have Imagineers and other people within the Disney company who do know what's going on. And we have a ginormous project in Disneyland Forward that, inquiring minds want to know what's going on with that.
What if you took the Captain EO Theater and just made that like an update that you go in there and you could actually see what their plans are for the future? And like, it's kind of like Walt's show that he did when he was talking about, here's what's coming up. And you have like Bobby Iger in there and Bobby Gurr, talking about what's coming in the future. Like, and that's kind of a continuous, it's always updated things. So it's never, I don't know. It's an idea. I forgot how big that theater is. It's not that big, right? The Captain EO Theater.
It's so an okay size. I was thinking that it would fit better where Innovations was, because that's already been reutilized as like kind of a museum space.
Mm-hmm.
They had it for Star Wars already. So
Yeah.
they already have it kind of like laid out where you can walk through there without it being a rotating theater, and it becomes almost like, a display center to see things. So I was thinking if we could turn that into like a Blue Sky headquarters or Blue Sky, whatever you want to call it, and have it where people can go in there and see all the stuff that's coming soon, both at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, because there's so many projects currently in the works. We can even replicate the same experience on both coasts. So you could get rid of the people, or not people mover, but the Carousel of Progress on the East Coast and turn that also into headquarters over there too.
They should play our episodes.
There you go.
Everybody.
Just imagine that theater.
Imagine that theater.
Yeah.
Boom. There it is.
Just on loop. There it is.
Bob Iger. Bob, listen to this. Listen to this plan, Bob Iger. I know you're listening. Someone from Disney's listening to this, and they're going, "Oh my God, get those 4 people on there. We need to have them on there." So
let's do it, and then we could be speakers at the
D23
at the event, and have little workshops. No, I think that's a great idea, and I wrote that down too, because I think about D23 and how they have concept art and they have the models, the 3D models of what's going on. They have ride designs. They have Imagineers who are actually talking about the projects that they're working on. And that would be something that would drive people in. One, it's air conditioned. So hello. And it holds a lot of people. The Innovations building holds a lot of people. And so to have it be a rotating exhibit of different things it's happening tomorrow. And, you talk about research and development. You have thousands of people coming in every single day, and you can get buy-in from your audience to say, hey, what do you think about this? Like at D23, when we were looking at some of the concept art, there were cast members that were just off to the side, up against the wall, just listening and hearing the conversations that people were, oh, wow, that's so cool. Or, oh, that's interesting. Where does that go now? And they're taking notes. You have thousands of people every single day doing that exact same thing of providing that feedback. That is gold.
You just built your own research group.
Exactly. And so then, like I said, having the Imagineering workshop of, the people that are actually working on these things to say, hey, we're further along in this project.
That's a really good idea.
Now we can provide some behind the scenes things. Maybe that could be in the Captain EO Theater as well, where you can have a more intimate gathering, a special ticket event, even where you have more of a one-on-one with some Imagineers. Or you can turn the Captain EO Theater into more of like a Turtle Talk with Crush kind of a thing, but for STEM.
with Wally, right?
The technology, the math and the arts, and the electronics of stuff, and have the the parents text in the kids questions or something like that, where it's science based and they can learn about what's going on, and you can have characters in there like Hero from Big Hero 6, or Honey Lemon, or some of these other characters who are in the science field to talk about things at the kids level, to get them excited about math and science and all the things.
I love that so much.
That's a really good idea.
And then you can have like little workshops and things for them to do that are along those same lines, like Sam, like you were mentioning, of what is the technology today that they can get their hands on, because who knows, like I think with Tomorrowland, it should be, we go back to storytelling, like it should be a place of dreams, right? Where you are able to be inspired, and just imagine all of these, this next generation going in there, seeing what's in Tomorrowland and go, I want to do that. How do I do more of that? And
say, here's where you start.
Exactly. And then like it just plants the seed for what will come in the future, because those in Tomorrowland, back when it first opened, they're seeing the 1980s replica, or not replica, but like what is envisioned for the future, and go, oh my gosh, space travel, that sounds so far away in science fiction-y. And then all of a sudden we have space technology because of seeds that were planted at the Disney parks right then. So I think that we need to go back to basics with that, and how do we enhance that for the future? So
I like that.
There are many people who say that like the space race wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Disneyland episode on ABC about space travel based on Tomorrowland. So it's just kind of, it turned like the American thinking over toward, hey, maybe we should get into this, and then even over to the Soviet Union, where they requested a copy of that episode to show their people as well. So it kind of like got the ball rolling.
I mean, we're really not like, we as a general public, like we don't realize like how big of a deal it actually, like I was just reading an informational text to my class about a space elevator that they're building. Like they have plans for it. They haven't started to build it. They're building pieces of it off-site. But somehow they're planning to transport us to space in an elevator. It was an informational text. I listened. I'm not telling you.
We already have that with Space 220.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the storyline for Space 220.
Right? Yeah. Well, they're genuinely like trying to take us to space in elevators. And it was a book about how someday you could take a field trip to space. And I don't know, I was like, what? But my kids thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so like that could have sparked something in them. And they're like, I want to know about this. And so they're going to use that curiosity that's being fueled for them to, maybe one of my kids that was sitting in that room when I was reading that book will do that someday. Who knows? But we have to plant those seeds for them.
100%.
Absolutely. I think that it's super important, and I think that is the land to do it in, and I think Epcot has a lot of potential as well with that. They do have some spaces where you do have some activities and things that you can help grow your imagination and play around with different things. But I think that Tomorrowland in particular has a really good footprint to do something really great. So, yeah. But I think in talking about planting seeds, if you are ready to start planting your seeds to try and travel to regions beyond, then you need to call Getaway Today. So
and you are the Segway queen. You're the Segway queen. Damn.
It's been a great show so far, but who's ready for an ad break? Did you know that the best way to keep our shows going is by supporting our sponsors? So Let's get to know more about the travel experts at Getaway Today. They've been helping to make vacation dreams come true since 1990. And whether you want to visit the happiest place on earth or to travel to Orlando for a most epic adventure, they are there to help. Are you trying to find out which hotel is your best option or which theme park tickets will work best for your visit? Are you concerned that you might need a last-minute change? No worries. Their travel experts will help you out. Looking to book a cruise but don't know where to start? Hey, they can help with that too. They will find the perfect cruise for your vacation, whether it's your first time or you're a well-seasoned cruiser. When you book your cruise with one of the Getaway Today experts, you will have a dedicated agent to help you every step of the way. They take care of the details so you can have the most fun. Getaway Today offers peace of mind travel, allowing you to cancel or make changes up to 72 hours before your trip. You will always have the most up-to-date vacation information, both pre-arrival and upon welcome. Getaway Today guarantees the best prices, with no hidden fees, and every time you book through Getaway Today, they will donate a portion back to a charitable organization in your area. And so far, over $4.5 million have been donated. So go ahead and dial 1-855-GETAWAY, that's 1-855-438-2929, and be sure to tell them that Walt's Apartment sent you. Or just click the link in our show notes for more information and the best deals to start your Disney, Universal Studios, or cruise vacation planning. What I'm trying to say is, if you like to travel, check out Getaway Today. Alright, so now it's time to get back to enjoying that view from Walt's apartment. Let's get back to the show.
We love Getaway Today. So wherever you're traveling to, be sure to contact them first. It's absolutely free, and you get so much out of your conversations with every single one of their agents. They're so knowledgeable. Even all of us who are well versed in Disney and travel and all of the things, we still go to Getaway Today to find out what we don't know. So, all right. Well, as we are rounding out our conversation on Tomorrowland, I got one more thing on my list. Does anyone have anything before I hop?
I do. For the Captain EO slash Honey, I Shrunk the Audience slash Magic Eye Theater, I would like to see a coming soon cinema. I know, like, your STEM idea or turtle talking with another kind of scientist. The idea of having it where they actually show like work in progress for actual Disney productions, so that way it's actually stuff that's going to be happening in the future, but it's a little more tangible. It's something that you know is coming, and it'll be like where they will drop trailers first, and people will know that's the place to go. And I just think that's a really fun idea that they can show, because they have someone doing a little mini documentary for every project that they're working on. So show a little bit of that footage for people who are in the theme park.
I like it. I did reimagine Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin because
yes,
it needs it. One, we do not need the wired guns. We need guns that work consistently. I think we could do like a 360-degree like trackless. And I thought that like each person should have like in their seat a health monitor and stuff. And the queue could be updates from Buzz Lightyear for Space Command. And depending on how your team is doing, like the ride could change through the different scenes that you're seeing and stuff. So the mission, as you're going on in the mission, the better you're doing, the like more intense the scenes get and stuff. Just a quick, I think we could do it. But again, I don't know how Disney can do it. I just think they can. So there's my idea.
I think the Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters should be ripped out. I mean, you have the same thing over in DCA with Toy Story Mania. So
yeah,
I actually saw a video Dave from Fresh Baked did like a couple of years ago, and he said if you took out that entire building from where Buzz Lightyear, from when you walk into Tomorrowland all the way to the end of that building, you could put Tron right there, which would look weird. Which would look weird as hell, but you could put Tron in that spot. So.
Well, I think at Walt Disney World, like I personally still like having some IP in the land. I like having Toy Story there.
Right.
because I think that keeps some of the nostalgic value when you're changing so many things. But in my storyline, I would definitely have it be like Zurg has like AI droids that are taking over the universe, and that's what they're chasing after through different, galaxies and asteroid belts and stuff.
Right.
So I still like having some of the nostalgic value of having an IP. Because if you make it too much learning and not enough fun, people aren't going to go to the land.
Sure.
Right.
That's true.
But
We learned
it
that with
definitely
Epcot 1.0.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely needs to be updated as far as the technology aspect is concerned, especially at the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they already announced that in August of this year they're actually closing it to redo a lot of the technology on that ride, including the guns.
Oh, good.
In the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's going to be opening next year.
Nice. I also think
perfect timing to rip out that track and listen to this episode. So perfect.
There you go.
Sure.
One more thing I want to bring up really quick is Star Tours.
Mhm.
I don't think Star Tours fits in that land anymore since there's a Galaxy's Edge. It was rumored when they built Galaxy's Edge that they would be moving Star Tours to Galaxy's Edge somehow. I think if you do that, you bring back the original ride that was there, which was, I believe it was called Mission to Inner Space or whatever. I can't think of what it's called, but the journey into where you shrink. Bring it back, because I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that
the
was
name of that ride.
I think Mission to
Adventure
Outer
Through.
Yeah, and you actually you
Adventure
would see
Through
the
Inner
thing go in,
Space.
then you'd see it shrink, and I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, there's my family's in there shrunken, but they're not, but it's just Bob Gurr.
But they're not.
They're not. That's Bob Gurr's original design for the Dune
Forced
buggy.
perspective.
Yes, but it looks cool, and I think that'd be a cool kickback to like the beginning of Tomorrowland if you bring that back, something like that.
Yeah, with updated technology, I think that would be really cool because I mean I've heard a lot of great things, and many people have said, "Oh my gosh, I love that ride,"
Yeah.
and I have no connection to it, because I never went on it. So
Right.
I just if they brought something like that back, I think that would be a lot of fun. It'd be nostalgic for those who did go on it, and then something new for.
And
those
it
who
was
haven't.
definitely like futuristic. So it's like one of the actual futuristic things because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting shrunken and going to outer space. But I'm old, so I remember that. So, but it's cool. It was
Well,
cool.
it left an impression on you. That's
it did.
what
I thought it was cool.
attraction should do.
Yep.
That's right.
You know that the Monsanto brand isn't quite what it used to be, though. So it might be a little tough to get people on board.
Well, something along those lines. Yeah, with that idea. But
Absolutely.
my big e-ticket attraction, we're gonna keep Space Mountain, that's fine. But first off, getting back to Autopia and the giant monorail loop that does not need to be there. That whole section, Avatar Land. Just put it there. You have a body of water. It's part of Fantasyland. Fine. You're taking futuristic technology to get there, and it's fantastical, and it just fits right there. You have the entire land.
It does fit. So
yeah. So that part's done. Okay, e-ticket ride. So the main stretch that we were talking about at the beginning of Tomorrowland, where it's the only source of shade. So that stretch, I'm tearing out Buzz Lightyear and I'm moving because like that can go over to Pixar Pier. That goes over there. Star Tours goes to Galaxy's Edge, but we keep the show buildings or maybe even expand on it. And that stretch down the middle of Tomorrowland becomes the start of a dual Tron coaster. And so you have you update the turns into the show buildings to make them banked, and it actually will launch and bank into, well, I guess it's not really dual, but it'll go into the other show buildings on the other side, and you'll have one orange, one blue, and then using the Tron technology that you currently have at the Magic Kingdom, where you're seeing like the mirror. The mirror is you, but you are you're now the other color, right? Like you're battling the orange side. But whatever card you're on, like the opposite one is showing. So you'll have different realities, right? Of like, do you survive? Do you not survive? Like, are you, the whole show building can be like the where you are in line, the pre-show, of you entering into the grid. That can happen, underground. The whole ride queue from before can be exactly the same. It just is utilizing the two show buildings on the side to have more capacity and have a more interesting entrance of you, like looks like you're taken off. So you have some added kinetics there.
That'd be cool.
You're keeping that same track, just banking it a little bit so you can actually make that turn into the buildings and not have to slow down. Yeah, you just have to work the track a little bit to figure out how you come back. But
The rumor is they bought three. They bought 3 Tron coasters when they had. There's another one. Where's it going to go? So it's always been they've always said that they ordered 3. Yeah. Those are just sitting somewhere ready, and we all have no idea where it's going to go. That's crazy. Just think that.
Yeah.
I agree, Sam.
Sam's
Yep.
muted, but yes, we agree.
100%, Sam. Whatever you're saying. Totally.
I didn't realize I sorry. I said they just keep it. They just keep it somewhere at Imagineering, and they just ride it all day.
Yeah, it's just in the back.
It's in the break
back
room.
lot.
It's in the break room.
Let's go.
No lion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was all that I had. And just the food needs to be updated. Just overall, like burgers, pizza, pasta, that stuff is not futuristic. Make it.
Come on, it's Pizza Planet though.
I understand, but like we need something more. Either like a futuristic way for it to be delivered, or something like that. I mean, I was brainstorming with Kevin before we were recording, and I was thinking, like the little robots in Japan that will like carry your tray to your table. Like yes, that already exists, but we don't have that a lot here. So
they have them in a couple cities in the US though, so they do exist. Because I've seen restaurants in the US that have them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like using updated technology than just
That was all PG.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean it was also in like Bakersfield. It's not that fancy.
That's one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to mention that we did receive some unsolicited ideas from people who we talked to at the Disneyland fan club. One of the ideas was second floor onto Tomorrowland because they're not utilizing the space that they have right now well enough, I guess. I don't know. But the idea was to put an attraction on the second floor that would like loop through the bottom floor so we can have like interactive experiences on both sides of this whole thing. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how, but I do think it kind of goes along with Sam's idea of putting a dome over it.
Dude,
I think
I'm just going to say that dome idea is the best idea I've heard all night. That would be just absolutely wild.
We don't know what they're working on for Abu Dhabi, but if they're not coming up with some good R&D for Tomorrowland, I'm not sure why they've been wasting their time with that place.
Right.
The other idea that
we were temperature controlled and just like this is just so nice.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah,
everyone would be in Tomorrowland all the time, especially in Florida.
So crowded.
In Florida, like that would be the whole time.
Yeah. Well, then all they have to do is turn the temperature up and make it really hot, and then they can disperse traffic. They're in control.
I don't know if they would torture guests that much, like that blatantly. But
I mean, if they need to move traffic, maybe they can make a little rainstorm happen in it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Not that Hunger Games, Dave. But
this is Truman Show as well. Technology, I think, right? With Jim Carrey.
No.
The other
people leave. It just says Sam left.
All that Tomorrowland needs is to bring back the band Helix. Shawn, are you familiar with this? Because I was not.
No, I've heard of it.
One summer in 1981, there was a rock band in Tomorrowland at the theater that is now like we've been like 10 names so far. It used to be an outdoor theater right in front of Space Mountain, and it had a full rock band. There's actually a documentary by Defunctland on YouTube you can look at today. It shows all kinds of footage from this incredible band that
I
had
don't
like
remember that.
a
Incredible.
white
Look at
Wookiee.
he's just selling them up.
Oh,
That's
it
cool.
was beautiful. It was amazing. I don't know if it would actually like make sense today, but I'd be on board
So
for at least like
amazing.
one summer.
So amazing. They performed once and weren't invited back.
It was one summer. Well, the problem, according
One
to I
summer.
watched the Defunctland video, was like they tried to get signed. They actually got signed with Warner Brothers before everything kind of fell apart on them.
Oh man.
It was more that they thought they were bigger than they were, instead of it just being like a Disney-owned property.
So.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like what they had over at Disney California Adventure with like the Mad Tea Party or the Electronica, where it was just kind of a seasonal thing. And so yeah, I mean the band looked cool. It was like, yeah, like this rock and roll band, but then they also had like this white Chewbacca looking character.
Heck yes, let's go.
Some alien character.
All right, wait a sec. If we're talking about bands that need to come back, Food Rocks. Let's go.
What the heck is Food Rocks?
Over at Epcot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I mean,
all right,
I've heard the songs. Yeah.
Well,
veggie, fruit.
No, that's not that group, is it? Is it that group? Veggie, fruit,
Yes.
fruit.
That's the band. She's
not the Wiggles.
I don't
salad.
know. I mean, it
Yummy,
existed in
yummy.
Future World, that part of the park. Which what is
Okay.
that if not just a bigger Tomorrowland? So
I don't know.
yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Anybody have anything else before we close it out?
Now that Louis is gone, we all don't want to get rid of Space Mountain, right? Let's be real.
Oh, I did want to say with Lou gone, he talked about taking over the bus area over there, and that's kind of like suggested by other things I've listened to, but more for land for California Adventure that can use more land rather than for Tomorrowland, which is poorly utilizing the land that they have right now. But back in 2015, Disney actually bought the Carousel Inn, which is one of the hotels on Harbor, with the plan to bulldoze that down and create a walkway over to the parking lot that they already have, where it was the Pumbaa lot. And the plan was to build a big parking structure over there.
The Eastern
it's something
Gateway
that's still
project.
like, yeah, it's still on the like that could be in Tomorrowland as far as the plans for that, because that's still something that should be coming tomorrow, but we don't know when. So it's an attraction that would last apparently if they put it over there.
That hotel, they
As a
spent
sign.
$27 million to buy that hotel just to drop it to the ground, and it just sits there as an empty lot now. It's just the most wild thing.
Wild.
They will do
Why-
something in Disneyland Forward, right?
That's the plan.
Well, that's the plan. Is that
But
they still
it's-
want to build that parking structure because they need it. Because and that's a whole nother
Yeah.
parking is a whole nother issue. I don't know if you guys talked about parking on this show, but
We do,
did.
just
We had a
not
whole episode
today.
about it.
You can't park in
Yeah, we had a whole
Tomorrowland unless
episode
you're at
about
the Speedway or
I should
Autopia.
probably listen to some of the shows.
You probably
You
should. It's a
You're
great
gonna
show.
really like it.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Well, if you have enjoyed this episode, please scroll down on your podcast player and give us a 5-star rating. If you have an extra minute to spare and leave a written review, that would mean the world to us. Be sure to share it with other armchair Imagineers. It just takes 2 seconds and it tells Apple, Spotify, all the players that we're doing something awesome here. And it really helps the channel. So if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, then don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Be sure to check out our amazing sponsors, our absolutely free Discord, and our Patreon page for all the details. Links and everything are in the show notes. But until next time, continue to place trust in the magic of imagination. And remember, the details within the parks surround us in our everyday lives. Imagine that.
Imagine
See you
that.
next time.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.